In this comprehensive video, we present the entire recording of the recent Community Council meeting. Our goal is to ensure complete transparency and provide unfiltered access to the discussions that took place. During the meeting, a significant portion of the time was dedicated to discussing the presence of coyotes in our neighborhood. While this is indeed a relevant topic, it's crucial to note that other pressing issues, particularly those related to local crime statistics, were notably absent from the discussion. Furthermore, there was a moment of contention when the council expressed reluctance towards live streaming their meetings and abruptly ended the session upon realizing it was being streamed by a community member. This raises questions about the council's commitment to openness and accessibility. Additionally, the claim that the City of Pittsburgh has not reported crime statistics since September was mentioned. This statement seems questionable, and we intend to investigate its accuracy further. Our intent in sharing this full video is to provide our community with the opportunity to witness the entire meeting firsthand. It's vital that we all have access to this information to form our own informed opinions. In a follow-up video, we will delve into specific aspects of the meeting that we find concerning. Our objective is to highlight and analyze these points, fostering a well-informed and engaged community dialogue. Stay tuned for the upcoming analysis, and thank you for your continued involvement in our community's well-being.
Okay, everybody, we're going to get started. Officer Luffy is ill, so she will not be here tonight. I have some stats that Laura Doyle ran off. She has access to a public site that has all the crime that's happening in Carrick. So I can kind of go over a little bit of that. I don't know all the particulars, but I can give you some numbers. But first, what we're going to do is Jessica Benham, our state representative, and her chief of staff, Dan, here, they approached us because there's been a lot of talk about the coyotes that are running around Carrick, and they came to us and they have a game warden who's going to talk to us about the coyote stuff that's going on. So I'm going to let them go first, and then we'll get the crime stats after. Okay, there we go.
So we're all ready whenever you are. If you want to introduce yourself and then talk a little bit about the coyotes, that would be fantastic. I think folks have been concerned about the number they've seen in 20 hours a day. And of course, there's some concern about favorite pets and things like that as well.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Officer Ferry with the Pennsylvania Game Commission. I'm a state game warden. I'm from Westmoreland County, but I do cover 2 districts in Allegheny County as well. So the reason I'm here is to talk about coyote population. Now, when it comes to coyotes, not many people realize the vast population, the big population there is of coyotes. There are coyotes in the state of Pennsylvania in every county across the state. I have received multiple phone calls from the Pittsburgh area about the same issue, concerns about sightings of coyotes in residential areas, at any time of the day, really. The thing is with coyotes, they're very adaptable. So when it comes to, residential areas, suburban areas, they start to adapt to that. So it's almost like they're not scared of humans because they see people every day, any time of the day. So they kind of are used to human activity. So that's why they're being spotted during the daytime. Now, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to harm human beings. The only time you're going to see that is if they're sick with rabies, but in most cases we don't see that with the coyote population. Now, there were some instances, some incidents in the area recently. There was an incident in Frick Park of people claiming that coyotes had attacked domestic dogs. It's hard to say what actually happened. From what I understand, there was an unleashed dog, and it provoked one of the coyotes, and that's what caused the stir-up. So it's important when you have pets outside, especially dogs, to keep them leashed. Coyotes, obviously, they're canines, just like our pets. So when it comes to 2 different types of canines in the same area, they become very territorial. So they're going to stand their ground and try to show one another who's the boss of that territory. So it's very important to keep pets on a leash. As far as, in reality, there's not many coyote domestic dog incidents. It happens very rarely. Coyotes, they're more the nocturnal wildlife, so they're mostly going to be out during the night and early mornings. But like I said, with areas around Pittsburgh and in Allegheny County, there's less woods and more homes, so those coyotes are going to adapt to that area. U.S. property owners have the right to protect yourselves from any kind of wildlife. So if a coyote does become aggressive and tries to attack you or tries to attack a pet, you as that pet owner and property owner have the right to defend yourself. If that comes to be, and you do have to defend yourself from a coyote. Now, I'm not saying everyone carries firearms with them, but in a circumstance where it does happen, you have the right to defend yourself with any way possible. But then that would have to be reported to us, to the Game Commission. That way we can come out and investigate it and see what was going on. Now that doesn't only fall in place for coyotes, any type of wildlife. If you have skunks, raccoons, possums, if they're nuisance, if they're destroying your property, then the U.S. property owner again has the right to protect your property, whether that's trapping the wildlife, removing them, or euthanization. 9 times out of 10, most people just set a live box trap and trap. Unless they're sick or injured, that's when we come in. There are nuisance wildlife control operators. They would come in, and if there is a nuisance coyote, one that's causing issues throughout, you can call them up, and they can come in and try to trap and relocate that coyote. Now, of course, they're going to charge a fee for that. So most people try to stay away from the nucos because they do charge a fee. And then they, as a company, set their own rates. I couldn't even tell you what the average rate of a nuisance wildlife officer is. But overall, coyotes, they're not a danger to humans. They're just trying to make a life of their own, and unfortunately, we have to witness that. And I understand, with being in a residential or suburban area, most people don't like seeing those that wildlife running around. But if you leave the coyote alone, it's going to leave you alone. The best thing you can do is make noise, make yourself known. If you make noises, loud enough noises, it's usually scares them off. So, is there any questions, any concerns that anyone has about the coyote population?
Now, the microphone for this is on the laptop, so you can either shout real loud and hopefully he'll be able to hear you. If not, I'll just repeat it into the microphone. Other folks with questions or things they would like to share?
What do coyotes eat? I mean, I've heard that they're going after cats. What is their typical diet?
So they usually go after small wildlife, so like rabbits, squirrels. A big thing for them is when it's fawn season, when the does are having their fawns. They go after the fawn because as soon as a fawn's born, it can't get around very easy. So that's an easy meal for coyotes. But small wildlife usually what they go after. If there are stray cats, feral cats running around, they will go after the stray cats. Again, it's easy for them to find and to eat. So, but so rabbits, squirrels, groundhogs, anything along, and small rodents, mice. That's what they're usually going after.
How do you get rid of coyotes if they're roaming in your neighborhood? Did you hear?
That's a good question.
Do you trap them or do you hunt them? Do you trap or hunt?
What was that? I'm sorry.
I said, do you trap them or hunt them?
So our coyote population is controlled through hunting and trapping. So hunting season is always open for coyotes. But obviously you have to have the proper hunting license or fur taker's license to harvest a coyote. You can trap them as well. There is a trap season for coyotes. So if it's in the residential area, hunting them is a little bit difficult in a residential area. Trapping them, it would be a little bit easier. The only issue with trapping coyotes is obviously domestic pets, domestic dogs. In a residential area, if you're trapping them, you would have to be aware of where dogs would run, so those domestic pets don't get caught in any traps that you have set for the coyotes.
In my neighborhood, we have one that just had 2 pups, 2 babies. So they're growing. will eventually they move on somewhere else, or are they just gonna expand and get larger and larger?
Yeah, they eventually may move on, or they just may stay. The thing with coyotes, the more coyotes that that get removed, whether it's hunting or trapping, the more we take out of the population, the more that the litters become larger. As the population disperses or decreases, they actually, I can't remember the terminology for it, but the litters become larger to try to get that population back up. I can't remember what the terminology is for that, but as they decrease in population, the litter sizes increase to try to refill that population. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation. If you're thinking, all right, we're removing some of the coyotes, in reality, when the females have litters, they're potentially creating more population. So it's most coyotes, they don't stay in the area too long. The only reason they're going to stick around is if there's plenty of food there, they're going to stick around. But most of them just come through looking for food. If it's not there, then they move on to their next location.
Thank you.
Anybody have any other questions?
Any other questions? Well, thank you, officer. Appreciate you taking the time out of your evening to join us and for answering everybody's questions. If questions or concerns come up after this, you can, email me or email Dan. I think most folks have our contact information.
Yes,
If you don't have it, we can pass questions on.
If anyone has, any other questions that come up in the future, don't hesitate to reach out to the agency, and then they'll try to get it to us, and we will try to answer those questions as best as we can.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Have a good rest of your night.
You as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Jess.
Absolutely. I've heard a rumor that apparently one of the things helping to keep our rat population in check is the coyotes. So that, I guess, jives with what we were saying with them eating rodents.
Yeah.
Still, as a cat owner, it's still.
Okay. Thanks, you guys. Laura Doyle ran stats, but the stats end September 29th, so you've heard all these things that have happened in, Carrick, that's on these pages. I thought this was like this month, and I was starting to have hyperventilating because there's a lot of stuff on here. And then I started looking at the dates, and it was like from January to September.
I looked at that this morning. From what I understand, the city police have not released the November numbers publicly yet.
Yeah.
So there might not be anything that.
Yeah, there isn't.
Yeah.
She would go through the reports, but on the public stuff. Go ahead, Andy.
Why wouldn't the city release those numbers publicly? They've got a 24-hour blotter that they update daily, or they have for years now, and it hasn't been updated since, I think, the 19th of November. So why would the city not want to update the information?
I don't know, but I'll find out. I'm just writing all this stuff down. Okay.
I will say on a relevant to Carrick public safety note, the perpetrator of the homicide at Sophie's turned himself in, I think this morning or last night.
Yeah. Yeah. So that whole thing is under investigation, so, but it's still a tragedy all the way around. You know, the person that was killed and the person that did the shooting, that's two families' lives that are ruined for senseless stuff. So,
It should have just been a bar fist fight.
yeah, yeah. One of the things, whenever we were talking about the block watching, we used to talk about this pre-pandemic about what the block watch can do to help with crime. And some of the things that they talked about in the past was if you see something, say something. Don't feel that if you see a strange person walking on your street or sitting in a car outside of your street or something that's just not right, you know, you think, should I call? Well, I don't want to bother them. Call 911 and send them. You know, if their cars are available, they'll send them. So just remember, if you see something, say something. And I've called many times when I've been out. You know, we're down at the pavilion and we see some behaviors that are a little bit suspect, and you call. The police came right away and took care of the behavior and ended up arresting 2 people that were doing some stuff. But you know, drug activity. Drive-by, people come into a house all the time, people meeting. You know, a few years ago on my street, we used to have, when I was home in the day, I'd see a car pull up, and a strange car, and sit there, and then other cars would pull up and exchange and drive on. I don't know why they picked like that street, maybe because they thought nobody was around. But, you know, if you see something, say something. We are the voice of our community, you know, and if you want to remain anonymous, you can. When you call, if the dispatcher will say, would you like to speak to an officer? If you're comfortable with that, absolutely, because then they really do send them for those types of calls and complaints. The other thing that I want to be reminded of is, to me, this is so simple, like seriously so simple, but it happens all the time where we see on Facebook for the Carrick pages, you know, hey, there's people going through cars, hey, there's people going through cars. They check the door handles. The easiest thing to do is to make sure your cars are locked. Something so simple, but really and truly it prevents people from prowling around. Getting at your whatever's in your car, whatever it may be. It could be your change in your change container, or some people leave like laptops. Don't ever leave your laptops or your purse or valuable items sitting in plain view. Make sure you keep them in the trunk. Make sure that everything is locked.
If you got one of those cars that the kids are stealing because all they got to do is plug the phone into it, get one of those club.
The old-fashioned 80s club. Old school. Sometimes all the things new are not the best.
That's a fix that they're sending out.
Yeah.
Because I was surprised. I got the letter and I called and they sent me a club.
Is that what they did?
Yeah.
You didn't have to take your car?
I got 3 of them because I have 3 of that lot. We have 3 of that brand.
Yeah. So it's just kind of basic stuff that's happening in our everyday world. Anybody have any kind of stuff they want to report so we can pass it on to the Zone 3? We send stuff to Zone 3. It just depends what it is. If it's like drug complaints, we send it to narcotics. If it's criminal mischief, we send it to the commander. If there's other things going on where you live, you know, and you want to report it and so we can forward it on, that would be great. One of the things I saw today on Facebook, one of the residents of Carrick wants the meetings live streamed. I'm going to make an executive decision on this one. At this meeting here, we will never live stream the block watch, and I'll tell you why. A lot of our people share information here. Are you live streaming?
Sure am.
Why?
Why not?
Turn that off and then I'll tell you.
Nope. Public meeting, can't stop it.
Oh, okay. So when somebody shares vital information about crimes that are happening and they're giving information.
Only face they see is yours.
Okay. don't know who he is. So,
Who are you?
yeah, who are you?
I'm nobody.
Oh, come on, that's not fair.
Are you a Carrick resident?
Sure am. 29 years.
Okay.
So why did you decide to live stream?
Because a lot of people wanted it.
Why don't they come to the meeting? That
Yeah.
puts the population of the meeting way
A
down.
lot of people can't come.
There's a lot more people that can come that are choosing not to come, and that makes it worse. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair that you made that decision. You're not running or hosting the meeting.
It's too bad. It's a public meeting.
Well, folks, does anybody have anything? If you have anything, come on up. Other than that, this meeting's over.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming out, everybody.
There goes all the people that want to report anything, and they're not going to do it. Good job.
I don't want anybody.
As we conclude this video, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to each and every one of you who has taken the time to watch and engage with this content. Your interest and involvement are what drive meaningful change in our community. I also want to encourage continued discussion and dialogue. Your perspectives, experiences, and insights are invaluable as we navigate these complex issues together. Please feel free to share your thoughts and comments below, as a vibrant and informed community is our strongest asset in fostering positive change. Remember, it's through our collective efforts that we can ensure transparency, accountability, and progress in our community. Stay informed, stay involved, and let's work together to create a safe and thriving environment for all. Thank you once again for your support and engagement. Your active participation in our community's affairs makes a significant difference. Stay tuned for more updates, and let's continue this important journey together.